We're staring at some rich people now. It's almost like a reverse zoo or something. Like there's a fence in front of us. We're on the train tracks at the Beltline, unfinished part, further up from where we just were, over by this golf course thing. And there's some bars. And I guess both of us looking at them and then them looking at us, we both probably are like, oh yeah, they deserve to be on that side. That kind of thing. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Golf is so boring. I think this is like something I could only ever do on substances, because it'd just be like, I mean, I don't mind hanging out, but do you guys really want to go golf? Like, why do you want to do that?
It's what was it, like a long walk ruined or something is the famous quip about golf, or it's like the best way to ruin a long walk
is via golf.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Like to have to hit this tiny ball, like I don't even know how people get good at it, because it's such finesse. Like to be like a mile away from here and have to hit this ball in that tiny hole. Yeah. Like it should be a pit, you know. It should be like a very large pit that you get to hit your ball into.
At least a well. Like, you know, at least the diameter of a solid foot.
But it's a tiny little hole.
That's what she said.
Wouldn't that be what he said?
They both said it. Yeah. It was true, so it was said by both, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's boring. I mean, yeah, it's skillful to be able to do that, but, I mean, you could be a fat guy and do that. Like, you could be, like, utterly... It's not like if you're a really good basketball player, you're probably, like, a specimen of human athletics.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh, okay.
Do you think there's something inherently wrong with fat people? Do you think that there's like something like ethically questionable about them?
Aside from the fact that they're fat?
No, do you think that fatness makes somebody like bad?
No.
I don't quite believe you.
Well, I mean, I think that...
Do you think it's like a mark of character?
I think it's a mark of a certain part of their character, yeah, but I think being thin and athletic is a certain mark of that same character. I don't know if it's not necessarily like a flaw, I wouldn't say. I guess it's just a different group of decisions that has a different result from me. I mean, I don't find it preferable, and I find it horrific because of its health consequences, but I mean, I know that just because someone's fat doesn't mean I can't be friends with them or anything. They could have good ideas. I mean, Christopher Hitchens was no specimen of health or vitality. He was very unhealthy, and he was a little bit big himself, which was one of the shocking parts when he got sick with cancer, just to see how quickly he lost all that weight. I think that's when you know someone's like really sick. They drop like 70 pounds in a couple of weeks. But no. And I made a joke earlier when I said besides the fact that they're fat. But no, I don't have a problem with fat people. They're fine. They can do them. I just I have such a preoccupation with not being fat or being. It's not really fat. It's like just being unhealthy. So I have to admit that I unconsciously conflate unhealthiness with being fat. But I wouldn't say that it's like I'm prejudiced against those people. I don't think that they are unable to do jobs any better than I am. I don't think that they're bad people in terms of like how they treat their families or their children or whatever, or their friends. So,
okay. I was just curious.
I was just defensive. No worries. You know someone's lying when they give a long explanation about something that should be a simple yes or no. Yeah. Number 34 or 33? 32?
33.
Okay.
If you were to die this evening with no opportunity to communicate with anyone, what would you most regret not having told someone, and why haven't you told them yet?
I mean, probably just something like, I wish I could have told everyone that I love them. I would just hope that I left on a good note, you know?
Yeah.
just one last time to have that be the last thing that you say. I like when I say goodbye to people like my family and stuff like that, and we say, but I don't usually live on bad terms. I don't think I've ever left on bad terms with my family or Erica, even if I go for a bike ride. I do kind of take comfort that if I die on that bike ride, at least it was like a nice exchange before I left. I mean, yeah, probably just a cliche answer for that one for me.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would call my parents, though. Or, like, I would be sad that I didn't get to talk to them.
Yeah.
Because I talk to my mom every day. I don't talk to I would probably just call my dad. Or I would be sad that I didn't get to, like, tell my dad that I loved him.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that I talk to less.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like so much of our parents, or like at least my parents, like psyche is kind of obsessed with like the thought that maybe they didn't do everything right, or like they did a little bit wrong, or they could have been better in some way.
I think all parents have to feel that way.
Yeah. And
it's probably a mark of being a good parent, actually, to think that you could have done better.
Yeah. And to just, like, you know, I don't like when people are like, I did the best I could. Like, that's just, like what, like, an alcoholic mother would say, like, waving her fist. Like, I did the best I could. Like, shut up. No, you didn't. Like, you're shitty.
Yeah.
But...
You did the worst you could.
Right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, I just think that to be able to confirm with them that they did pretty well.
Yeah.
Would be nice. As far as like my friends go, like if there was someone that I was on bad terms with, I would want to talk to them, but I feel like everything is pretty solid. Like I don't think that if I died, you'd be like, I wonder if Lindsay really loved me.
Yeah.
I think that you would just know that I did.
Underneath it all.
Yeah.
As Shakira said.
So, you know, these hips don't lie.
As Shakira also said.
I wish I could have come up with a better Shakira lyric for that.
I think that's basically all there are, though. Just those two. It's just the luck of the draw. I got the good one.
No fighting.
Okay, well, if you're going into like deep cuts of her albums, I don't know. I never listened to her that much.
So, I mean, there's that. I mean, like, what else? I mean, there's, you know, like, if you, like, had some, like, deep, like, secretive love for someone, then that's a thing. But, like, who really has that? Like...
In real life.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are some people that really do have, like, deep secret loves. But pretty much, it's just, like, the basic, I love you, bye, thanks for being in my life.
You did a good job.
Nice.
You did the best you could. Yeah, I guess maybe this question is for people who are maybe a bit older than us and have more regrets.
Oh, I have a ton of regrets, but there's not really a point to them.
Yeah. It's this little kid out there in the golf, indoctrinating him.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like a little douchebag. I just want to go out there and throw his face in the ground.
Part of me wonders, this is just a thing, part of me wonders that if you were to die, or like if you were about to die and you knew it, and you were thinking, and you're like, there are all these things that I left unsaid.
Yeah.
What right do you have, like, in that moment, like, if it takes, like, the idea of death to, like, force you to be that honest with yourself?
Right.
Like, then you need to just completely reevaluate your life. Like, this is the same kind of feeling that I have about the question that was basically, it was like, if you had a year left to live, like, what would you, like, if there are these glaring things, then you need to change your life. Like, you need to get it right. Because,
get it right.
You know, like, there's not any promise of, like, anything beyond this.
That kind of reminds me of the Katie Couric interview with Lil Wayne. When she's like, how do you feel about all these young kids who look up to you and they want to be like Lil Wayne? And he's like, if you need a role model, then you should have never been born. And he's like, for real. He's like, I got mine. And he's like, he's got his daughters, and those are the people who he should be a role model for. And he's like, fuck the rest. I don't care what the rest of the people think. I'm not. If you like you're saying, if you're a vapid person who has to have some crazy shit in your life, then maybe you should just reevaluate your life. Yeah. Like if you have a huge answer for that question.
Yeah. I'm not saying like that's not a reality for me, but I also am like pretty like aware of the fact that I need to change my shit. So. And
I also do look up to Lil Wayne as a role model, so I guess.
It's an even playing field here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like that he said that.
Yeah, he says it very emphatically, too. It's a really good interview. They go bowling and stuff, and he talks about weed for a while. It's really funny. And he talks about his scissor drink that he's drinking, I think, during the interview. And he's like, yeah, I hurt I can't even do an impression. He's like, I hurt my leg or something like that. And she was like, did you really? And he's like, yeah. And then that's like the extent of going into his codeine dependency. But it's a good interview. Maybe we should link to that in the show notes.
Yeah.
I will stand up for marijuana any day. Yes.
Do you smoke a lot of pot?
Medicinal now. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes, ma'am.
Medicinal for yes, what?
I have migraines, right? I have migraines that make me want to just kill myself.
You never think, gee, maybe I should ease up on the weed?
I never think that. I'm a rapper. That's who I am, Miss Katie. And I am a gangster. And I do what I want. And I love to smoke.
Do you ever think, God, I have a 10-year-old daughter.
A 10-year-old daughter and a 2-month-old son.
And did you ever think, am I a good role model? You know, am I a good example for people on how to live their lives?
I'm not an example for people on how to live their lives. And never in my life would I ever set out to be an example for people on how to live their lives. If you need an example for how to live, then you just shouldn't have been born. Straight up. And I am a great role model because I'm only a role model for 2. And that's all. So won't you worry about yours and let them worry about theirs. I got mine.
Clearly, Lil Wayne answers to no one.
You know,
it's really funny.
One of the like most disturbing moments of my life was like maybe my like sophomore or junior year at Barry. I went to the CVS late one night, probably to get like a Diet Coke and some Cheetos or something.
Of course. What other reason do you have to go?
And I got there, and there were these people that I knew coming out, and they had all bought Robitussin.
Oh, yeah.
And they were about to drink it.
Yeah, Robotrip.
Yeah. And I was just like deeply disturbed in that moment. I was like, we have this. Like, we are at a really good school. Like, we, you know, like, we have all of these opportunities being thrown at us.
Right.
And this is what you're doing on a Saturday night?
Can you name any names just to put it out there? Just to bring these people to justice?
I could name some names, but I, you know.
Billie Holloway.
I was just so disturbed. And then, like, I don't know, I get very, like, indignant when these things happen. Like, on Friday night, Barrage wanted to do nitrous.
Oh, yeah.
And,
laughing gas, right?
Yeah, or, nitrous oxide. I don't know if that's laughing gas. You, like, suck it out of a balloon or whatever, and then Whippets, yeah. And I was just like, didn't that, like, ruin Steve-O's life? Like, it just kills your brain cells. Like, what is the point of it? And he was like, well, I didn't think that you would be, like, so, like, defensive and upset about it. Because he said it so, like, one of his friends called him and was like, hey, can you pick up some, like, nitrous on the way over? Because you're going to hang out with him. And I was just like, I don't, like, take me home if that's what you're doing tonight. I don't know why I get that way. Like, I should just be, like, the cool wife and be like, yeah, baby, like, whatever you want. But it was just, like, you're gonna sit around on a Friday night with people that you could have, like, the most mind-blowingly amazing conversations with, and you're gonna suck nitrous oxide out of a balloon and basically, like, go mind numb for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That sounds miserable.
Where do
Have you ever done it?
No, but where do you get that stuff?
You can get it at head shops.
You can just buy nitrous oxide?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You just eat it or drink it or
Suck
it. Suck it.
Yeah.
Suck it.
I mean, I don't get the point. And Viraj was like, so you're willing to do other drugs, but you're not willing to do, like, it's like, he was like basically saying, like, it's one of the least harmful drugs. And I was like, well, I don't like to do any drug more than once because I am, like, complete addict. So that's not a good behavior for me to develop. But I try not to give myself those things.
Yeah, something that makes you feel too good. It's always dangerous.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
I just want to feel bad.
It's safer to feel bad.
Yeah.
Because that happens for free, and you don't lose your job for feeling bad.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to end up living in a Jeep Cherokee for, feeling bad.
Actually, if that's what you get when you start doing nitrous oxide, I might have to sign up because I don't have a car. So.
Well, the kicker is the car is the only thing you have and no one loves you anymore.
You still have the car, though.
Yeah.
Go on a cool vacation.
Can't afford gas.
Oh, so it's like a...
You basically, like, it's parked in a parking lot and you sleep in the back of it.
Immobile home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrible. I mean, just watch that show, Intervention.
Is that how they cast
Those people
for
are
it?
so pathetic.
Yeah, I don't watch that show.
It's so sad. It's so sad. There's a new season out right now. And I, like, lost, like, whatever the thing that made me feel good about watching Intervention sometime over the past month. And now I'm just like, this is so sad. It's not even entertaining anymore.
Atlanta can definitely bring out the weaker points of people, I think.
Atlanta?
Yeah, I think so. I think because there's a lot of availability out here, and I think that there's also, like, a lack of accountability. So it's just like the city's not very well connected. So I mean, we've got homeless people, like, right next to our nice areas, so no one really cares as long as everyone leaves everyone else alone. There's no real sense of community here. So I feel like if you're prone to sort of like self-destructiveness in one way or another, Atlanta is a good place to facilitate that. And I think it can run out of control before you get a handle on it. Yeah. Just based on, like, experiences some of my friends have had that seem like they wouldn't have flourished if we all stayed in Lilburn, but because they all moved to Atlanta and just kind of experienced this unaccounted for freedom, they were able to, like, just kind of go balls to the walls. There was no one mediating whatever they did.
But is that, like, a good thing?
No.
I mean, they might not have flourished in Lilburn, but at least they didn't, like, I don't know.
I mean, I think they had a good support system, so when they finally did crash, they were able to get their life back on course, and they had an interesting experience. But, I mean, I think that it kind of, like, it's kind of like if you threw, well, I won't get into a weird metaphor, but it's just like, if you have a weak spot, this is like Atlanta gives you an opportunity to expose it. Potentially.
Yeah.
Not for all, but I think a lot of the college people who I saw, it just seemed like everyone went crazy when they first came to Atlanta from high school. And they're just like, it was like too much, and they did everything.
That culture is so disheartening to me. Because I feel like I had that for, like, a couple months in college.
Yeah.
Like, my last year of college.
Right.
I was just the people that I was hanging out with were just made some pretty bad decisions and encouraged me to make bad decisions. And, you know, like, you want to be cool and loved. And so you just do things that you know are stupid. And, it's just like waking up doesn't feel good when that's your life.
Yeah.
I like to wake up and feel like moderately okay with things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's just go to the next question. This is really sad.
This is one of many conversations that has ended at the door of sadness for Lindsay.
Yeah.
That's funny. To me, I don't think it's sad at all. It is what it is, man.
Yeah. No, I think it's more of like the idea of wasted time.
Well,
Like, I could be 2 months a better person right now, but I'm not, because I just wasted 2 months.
it's hard to quantify it, though. Maybe those 2 months made you into being a better person because you really hated where you were. So you couldn't have been as good of a person as you will be without those 2 years of feeling worse than you wanted to.
Maybe. Let's go with that.
Okay.
That's a positive spin.
I mean, that's how I look at everything, so it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, you know.
You just know that I'm lying.
No. I just, you know that Miley Cyrus song? It's like, it's my party, I can do what I want to. It's my house, I can
Fuck if I want to.
say what I want to. It's my life, whatever. I can love who I want to, kiss who I want to, whatever.
Sounds like a very mature song.
It's just like, when I hear that, it's so depressing to me, even though it's like a really fun dance jam, because you're just like, but no, you really can't. Like, you really can't just do whatever you want to and say what you want to and kiss who you want to. Like, that's a very irresponsible way to look at the world. Like, that is not gonna, like, grow you into a better person, like, feeling that much liberty at any point.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's uniquely American at this point. Just we have so much, no one has to work hard anymore. And so we all feel too privileged. But I think that'll change. I think as Africa continues to rise and Asia and India and stuff like that, and the world stage takes like a turn, and other countries become the predominant power, I think those people will be able to kind of, it'll be like the America of the 1950s again. Like the people who are the top of the world stage will be like, no, you actually do have to work, and you do have to be responsible, and you do have to be a member of society, and we will shun you if you do stuff that is stupid. And that kind of balance between wanting to not be shunned and also being productive in society will keep society upward.
Well, there's there's like, so part of it is, you know, like, shunning people for the right reasons. So, like, shunning people because, not because they're, like, gay or an artist or, like, whatever. Right. But, like, just, like, being real with people and be like, actually, like, you are a really bad example for young people.
Right.
And we're just not going to give you a microphone anymore. Just, like, go back to your day-to-day life. Like, figure your stuff out, and if you still want to sing in 5 years when you've become a productive human being, then that's fine.
Celebrity probation.
Right, but just, like, not this way. Like, this is not, I have so much compassion for these, like, young people who have been thrust into the spotlight, but at the same time, like, it needs to be ripped away from them. They just need to be normal people. Because if you're a normal person and you, like, say what you want to all the time and party how you want to and, like, whatever, then you just end up with no one.
Yeah, eventually. Your card will be pulled.
Yeah.
I mean, Miley Cyrus probably has been only ever exposed to fame, though, right? Because her dad, Billy Ray Cyrus, I'm guessing he was famous before he had her, so...
He was.
So
Achy Breaky Heart.
Yeah. So he's probably like...
Great music video.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. I don't remember. I think I've seen it, but yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm a fan of either he or his daughter, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird for her, because, I mean, she's never been a normal person, probably. Or at least, I should say a non-famous person. She still takes shits, so I'm sure she's somewhat normal.
Let's hope she does.
She probably does.
She doesn't look like she eats very much.
She probably doesn't, but no matter what, you still shit. Even if it's your body in, like, the final throes of starvation,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Like
sure.
your intestines.
Yeah, it's just your lungs coming out, your brain coming out of your butt.
That's what happens to her. She shit out her brain.
Yeah, I'd subscribe to that theory. I'd put my stamp on it, say it's probably true. Circulate it for all the peer-reviewed journals. That was quite a tangent.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know what's weird on this recorder? The batteries have actually gone up, so I have more battery. So says the recorder.
Do you think it's lying to you?
Maybe it just got hot because I'm kind of like holding it in the sun, and so it's like getting a little bit of extra energy from the sun.
I don't think that that's how things work, but
I actually do think that's how things
willing
work.
to give it to you. We're not gonna argue about it. And
Listeners may recall the hydrogen conversation. I know my science, y'all. Not really, though.
not really.
Not really.
So, question 34.
Wow.
Almost there.
Wow.
Wow. Your house containing everything you own catches fire after saving your loved ones and your pets.
Cool.
So Char Char is safe.
As is
So
Paul.
is Paul.
Yeah.
You have time to safely make a final dash to save any one item. What would it be and why?
So easy. Obviously my bike.
Your bike?
Yeah, I don't give a shit about anything else.
Okay.
Who cares? Fuck the rest.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if I can still go for a bike ride the day after I lost my entire house, I'm good. I could care less because I'll just start.
Well, that's not entirely true.
Well, I mean, I'll still be like, damn, I wish I had my computer or my iPad, or I wish I could make some coffee or make some food, or I wish I still had my clothes, or etc. But a huge part of my happiness is derived from bike riding, so that would be probably the most important thing to save. Plus, I'd be able to still commute to work. I mean,
Okay.
So it's got practical implications as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can say that basically unequivocally.
Okay.
Unequivocally? Unequivocally.
I think
can
they
say
all
it.
work at this point, really.
I can say that without doubt, bitch.
So gross.
Answering like a pimp. Like a pimp. I've been listening to a lot of Jay-Z.
Well,
Because I walk like a pimp, talk like a Mac. Like a Mac.
Mac? What is that?
A Mac is like someone who's like on top of his game, like cool, like does it all right. Like he's a Mac. Like he's winning. He's doing well. He's a Mac, you know. He's like sells the most cocaine. He's got the hottest girls. He's just Macking right now, you know.
Yeah.
Albums from the 90s, so some of the I don't know, because he's not a hustler, because he's controlling the game. He's not a player because he can basically, I mean, I guess he is a player.
He doesn't have to play.
He doesn't have to play, no, so he's not a
Because
player.
he's already like...
Because he's also controlling the game.
Yes! That's what I wanted to do.
Nice.
Think I can do it twice in a row?
I don't think so. So she's throwing rocks at the fence, and now you're going to get all these people mad at you.
They don't know.
They don't know, no, but if they see you throwing rocks over there, sound like a Japanese bell. Look at all those weird, like, they've got all these golf clubs that are like out there. It looks like a field full of golf clubs.
It's every other one.
50-50.
Yeah. I feel like the security's gonna get called or something. I'm just gonna
Excuse me, ma'am, can you please stop throwing those rocks? Excuse me. Excuse me.
I'm not good with authority.
I am. Wait, excuse me. What's your problem, dude? What the fuck is your problem?
Is that what you would say?
Yeah. You're like, we got to report y'all throwing rocks. I'm like, I'm not throwing anything. But if you keep talking like that, I'm gonna throw something. It's gonna be 2 hits. Yeah. One of them is me getting over this fence and getting on the ground. And then the other one is when my other foot hits the ground from jumping over the fence to talk to you face to face like a man, like a pimp, as Jay-Z would say. So, I'm ready. I'm prepared. Especially with my outfit, my intimidating outfit that I've got on. Orange vest, basically stupid clothes, kind of got my Porter Steel hat.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Wait,
So.
are we answering a question right now? Oh, yeah.
What would you save? You would save your bike.
Yeah, I'd save my bike.
I don't know what I would save. There are lots of things. I would basically save whatever I got to first that meant something to me. So it would either be
Something in the kitchen, it sounds like.
or the living room if I came in through the courtyard.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So it would be like the pictures of my grandfather and mom that are hanging on the wall.
Are those like originals or?
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that.
Like my childhood pictures. There's this little statue of me that Brenna made in college that I like a lot.
A statue?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
like about this big of me meditating.
Is it like look
She
like
gave
you?
it an extra big butt.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like that a lot. Like, it reminds me of a time when people, thought I was cool.
That time is no longer in session? No. What happened? Did you just move away?
I got uncool.
You got uncool?
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess you're probably very similar to the way you used to be, considering the strong personality type that you have.
Maybe.
I don't see why not.
Might save my computer.
Yeah.
Has a lot of pictures on it.
Yeah. Anything that has an original something or another
Yeah.
is worth saving. Because otherwise you just get another.
Yeah. Maybe my phone. Not really, though.
You probably have it. Let's for sake of argument, let's say you already have it in your pocket. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. You're not like some heathen. You carry your electronic devices close to you
Yeah.
at all times, like all of us.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably be, photographs of some sort.
Yeah.
I wish there was something more. Oh, I do know what it would be. My Mousy, which is.
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
I thought there was gonna be more words there. Mousy, what?
My Mousy. Well, Raj calls him Ratsy, but he's. My grandmother gave him to me when I was about 2 years old for
Like a
Christmas.
stuffed animal, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he basically, I slept with him up until college.
Does Viraj know?
Yeah. He's all patched up. He has these patches on him that my grandmother sewed on, of material that she had made dresses out of, and I would save him, no doubt. There's just too much there. He smells like me. Even now, I haven't slept with him in probably 3 years.
Wow.
And I've been in contact with him so much over the past 25 years that he just smells like my essence. It's really weird.
Yeah.
He smells if you smell of the corner of your nose.
Okay.
That's what you really smell like,
Yeah.
And it's kind of this sweet sweat and dirt a little bit, I would say, is how I smell.
Can you confidently spell sweet and sweat right next to each other and know that you're spelling both correctly?
SWEET, SWEAT.
Sweet sweat? You eat the sweet, right? Or do you not eat sweet? Which one has EAT?
That's sweat.
Okay, so you don't eat the one that says eat in it. Unless you do eat sweat. Well, that's
Unless
even
you
more
do,
confusing.
Then, yeah.
Where is Mousy in your house?
He's in the bedroom closet.
Okay, so he's not on display.
No.
Would you be really mad if Paul messed with him?
Paul has messed with him before, and I didn't speak to Paul for a couple of days. I shunned him just so he would know that he had done something wrong. It's basically was my best friend. I didn't have brothers or sisters, so it was just me and Mousy.
It's like
doing
Wilson.
stuff together.
Yeah. You've seen Castaway?
He's my Wilson.
Wow. That says it all.
Except I would never lose him in the ocean.
Well, to be fair, Tom Hanks only had Wilson for a couple years. So, they were close, but, you said...
No Mousy.
No, quarter century?
Close, but
Come
no
on.
Mousy.
Yeah, nice. Close, but no Mousy.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm glad that I thought about that, because...
Yeah, that's a good one. I used to have a blanket that was similar, like a blanket that I got at birth, but I think I stopped sleeping with that thing when I was, in elementary school.
Why?
Too embarrassed, just embarrassed at the fact that someone somehow might come to my room while I'm sleeping, I guess, and see me using a blanket. It was too feminine to me when I was a kid.
And that's embarrassing to you?
Oh,
to be
Lord,
feminine?
here it comes. Here it comes. You're gonna get mad at me for how I felt when I was 7 years old. Because you should.
Do you still feel the same?
No, I don't care about having a blanket. I think it's a thing that all little boys kind of, all normal, straight little boys go through.
That, you're just digging a fucking hole, dude.
I'm goading, you know?
Uh-huh.
I'm just trying to stick.
Goading me?
Yeah, I'm sticking stuff in your side.
How do you spell that?
G-O-A-D?
Goading?
G-O-A-D-I-N-G.
Okay.
I think so.
Sure.
Can you look it up while I continue my story about my blanket?
I think you're right.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I'm not good at reading, so I actually just be curious to hear the dictionary definition. It probably means something like completely different, like the building of an armoire in like 17th century France or something. Yeah, I had a blanket though, and I remember there was a girl who came over to my house when I lived in Florida, which I remember being very embarrassed about, and this is probably the last memory I have of that blanket, but she came over and I had to so that's correct. So goad is to provoke or annoy. I'm a goader.
Drive or urge an animal on with a goad.
Oh, so
that's what you're doing to me right now.
That's how I see it in my head. I'm like stabbing you with words, so that makes sense that a goad would be like a stabbing thing you use to herd animals.
Okay.
But yeah, this girl came over and I had to like run into my room before she came into my room so I could like hide the blanket. We live in a machismo world.
That's so pathetic.
It's so machismo.
I'm sorry. I know that's 7-year-old you, but that's so sad.
It's not that sad. It could be sadder.
Women love men who are in touch with their emotions.
You expect a 7-year-old to know this?
Yeah.
Well, sorry, but I didn't get the memo. I was only 7. I was scared of...
You still haven't gotten the memo.
No, it's because I changed my address and never did the forwarding thing. But at the time, I was very afraid of being killed by this thing that I called Boobly Jesus. So I was kind of preoccupied because I was pretty convinced that I had seen this like 2-dimensional, wobbly-limbed character, and he was trying to kill me. So sorry if my expectations about masculinity were askew.
It's okay.
It was a life and death situation.
Forgive it.
Well, I still feel the same way.
I think, no, just let it go, Kenneth. Let it go.
I can't goad you further.
You know you're going to lose this argument if it happens, so.
Well, I don't know if I would lose it, but I would let you make your point. Does that mean I lost?
Yeah.
Well, are you at all nervous about getting hit in the head with a golf ball? I'm a little bit nervous about it. There's a hole right there.
That would be really funny if it happened.
Talk about 2 hits. I would get up and I'd beat the shit out of that guy.
No, you wouldn't.
I would probably go over there and I'd probably give him an earful. I'd say, you dumb motherfucker, are you so bad at this game that you can't help but hit someone who is just trying to sit out and enjoy this weather? I would probably bend his golf club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell him.
Yeah.
That was good,
and
Kenneth.
he'd be like...
That was really good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And he'd be like, it was an accident. And I'd be like, this is an accident. I'd spit in his face.
No.
Yeah.
I would never talk to you again if I saw you spit in somebody's face.
Well, I would say, Lindsay, look over there. And I'd spit in his face.
No, I know this is like a fun joking thing, but if I ever heard of you spitting in someone's face, I would never, ever, ever talk to you again.
Hypothetical question.
What?
Let's say I find a time machine and I have access to go to any time period for any amount of time that I want. If I decided on a whim, like say it was Yom Kippur, and I was like, I want to pay Hitler a visit. So I go back to Germany circa 1942, and I decide to just quickly, stop in and spit in his face. And then say, fuck you, or whatever the German equivalent is, and then go back to my time. Could I tell you that I had done that, or would you resent me for it? Because it would be in the history books by the time I got back, so you probably would already know. But would that be acceptable?
I don't know.
I'm glad that you...
Such a, honestly, I'm not going to say that, that situation would make me never want to be your friend again, but, even that is one of the most detestable people that ever lived. I still don't feel like spitting in someone's face is okay.
What if I peed on him?
No, that's
What if I did the shit in the bag thing where I lit it on fire and then he has to come out and stomp on it and then he's like, damn it! He's got shit all over his feet.
I mean, that's fine.
You laughed.
That's funny. But, like...
To me, I think that's the grossest one. I'd rather... The only reason I don't want to be spit on is because I know that a lot of viruses can be transmitted through that.
It's just an evil thing to do to somebody.
I can think of worse, but I'll give it to you. Yeah. The Roman rebellion that was quelled via crucifying the slaves. That seems a little bit worse than spitting.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, person-to-person interaction.
Oh, yeah.
Like, things that actually happen. Like, there are people who still will, like, get mad and spit in somebody's face.
Yeah, to me, it's a very low blow. Like, it's very, very low.
It's like a man slapping another man. Like, that to me is, like, one of the highest insults. Like, that's not even, it's like being able to control yourself enough that you don't punch them in the face and you're just like, I'm just gonna open hand slap you in the face. I would rather be punched in the face than slapped in the face.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference in what those both mean, for sure.
I want, if somebody, like, gets angry enough with me that they have a physical interaction, I want it to be, like, something that they can't control. I don't want it to be something that they, like, think about and then are just like, I'm gonna teach her a lesson, I'm gonna slap her.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, take notes, everyone.
Yeah, if you ever need to assault me.
She'd prefer to be punched, if you please.
Because we can still be friends afterwards, maybe.
You laugh about it. What's the little spinal fluid between you and a friend, as Eminem says?
Okay. Of all the people in your family, whose death would you find the most disturbing and why?
Honestly, first thing that comes to mind is my sister's. And I have to say that I would find that so disturbing because I don't anticipate her death coming before mine just by the mere fact that she's a little bit younger. So I think I would be very disturbed. I had a dream about her falling down an elevator shaft and dying, and that was a pretty emotional experience for me because it's like that thing, just realizing that person is gone, Mm-hmm. And someone who is so young, like my parents, though I don't want them to die, will die before I do, most likely, just because that's the way the world works. Older people usually go first, but I'm reminded of that scene in Lord of the Rings where the king is having to bury his son, and he's just like really, really sad about it, and he's crying, and he's like, no parent should have to bury their child, or something like that.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah.
It's not the normal course of how ideally a life should go. The children should always bury the parents. So, in that same kind of essence, if Lauren died when she was unreasonably young for no good reason, it would be very hard for me to accept that. I would feel like a huge injustice was done.
Yeah.
And if she was murdered, I'd probably try to kill the person who murdered her, or at least punch them in the face, slap them or something. I break windshields, so I have to have that like physical release of knowing I destroyed something to level the playing fields. So, since you don't have a sibling, your answer's probably a little different, I would imagine.
My mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have the idea of being separated from my mom, I don't care to know that feeling, like, there's like this poem called Separation, by this poet, W.S. Merwin, who is the Poet Laureate several years ago.
Okay.
And it's, it's like just 2 lines, but
really?
Yeah.
You could look it up on your phone if you want.
I could. I mean, I could find it really easily.
Yeah, I can ask sort of a follow-up question while you look for that too, because I was curious, like, do you feel like at a certain point, though it would always be hard to say goodbye to your parent, do you think that at a certain point you could feel like at peace with it just because it's like the natural course of things? It's like... No, so it's just like it would always be the same amount of devastation, so there's no way to sort of be like, because when my grandma died, when my dad's mom died,
yeah,
I wasn't like happy about it, but I felt like she went at the right time, and it was a very nice way to go. Like, I was happy that she was lucky enough to die in the way that she did, where she was surrounded by loved ones the whole time she was like going downhill for like 2 years before she actually passed away, when everyone started to realize that her health was really starting to fail. She like had a lot of support, people were really attentive to her. And like all the way up to the end, I even there's like several Molt episodes of when I went to Florida. And actually
I remember this.
Yeah, the image that you took for my About Me page, or About Us page, that's from when I went to see my grandma, I think the last time, before she died. And I spoke at her funeral too. I actually wrote like a speech. I don't know if I still have that. I do, yeah. I'll have to read that on Molt or something, but like...
Jesus Charlie.
Yeah, oh yeah, Jesus Charlie. Like for her, I was like, there's no reason to feel sad. Like, I feel like this is really good. She is one of the few people who was lucky enough to not have died in tragedy. She wasn't taken before her time. She lived a great life. She has people who will continue to live on. She has grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and she never really had tragedy or too much adversity. Like, she lived a very nice life, and most people don't get that. So I felt like I was happy she died the way she did, because I felt like it was almost fairy tale. So, but nothing like that could happen. Yeah, well, that's fair. I mean, I didn't know my grandma very much either, so it's like I didn't feel like a huge sense of loss, because I never really talked to her anyway. And when I did, it was just like kind of awkward. Like, I didn't really know her very well, so it's just like constantly trying to get to know someone a little bit better over the course of 25 years. Did you find the poem?
I did. So it's called Separation. Your absence has gone through me like thread through a needle. Everything I do is stitched with its color.
That's the whole thing?
Yeah. My mom is like the one person on the planet that I feel like makes everything okay. Like, I feel like because she's alive, I know that there's something good. And I actually, like, when we were writing to my grandmother's house after we buried my grandmother.
Yeah.
I watched her like go through the world that day, just so gracefully and beautifully, and I just like realized that I didn't, like, at this point in my life, if my mother died, I wouldn't want to keep living. Like, I can say that. I know it sounds dramatic, but I can't imagine wanting to be alive if she were dead. Like, I don't know if I would like do anything about it if she, like, I can't imagine like harming myself.
Right.
But
the will to live would be gone or something.
Yeah, like, I haven't gotten enough of her yet. Like, she's my best friend. She's my mother. She's just good. And I wouldn't ever, like, there would be a point where I would have to step up, and I talked to her about it, and like, it would probably be some kind of, like, if she were dying and it was gonna be like this long drawn out thing, I would probably, like, I don't know, fly her to Oregon and like help like assisted suicide.
Oh yeah.
Or something, because I know that she wouldn't want that. But like, she watched her mom suffer for 4 years.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want that for herself or for me. But I would step up at some point, and like, I would know that it was right for her to go, but it would never be okay. Like, it would never, ever, ever, ever be okay.
So do you think that that's like something looming in your future? I mean, that situation isn't necessarily going to happen, but parents will be lost by everyone.
Yeah. I mean, it's easier for me to imagine myself dying than to imagine her dying. I just can't even think about it. Would just be like there'd just be a vast hole in myself, because I feel like so much of me is just her, like, implanted in me.
Yeah.
Like, my guidepost would be gone. So that would be deeply disturbing.
Yeah.
The most disturbing.
I can tell. Yeah. And
the last question.
Thanks, questions.
It's the last one.
Wow.
We did it.
Congratulations.
Share a personal problem and ask your partner's advice on how he or she might handle it. Also, ask your partner to reflect back to you how you seem to be feeling about the problem you've chosen.
Okay. I mean, things are pretty good. It's like, why are you making me ask, like, myself that kind of question or whatever, but shoot. Do you have one off the bat?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I mean, we've talked about this already, so I think it'll just be like maybe like a rehashing of something that we've already talked about.
Yeah.
Except I want more of your input than what you gave me before.
Was this during the fun night? Okay.
I don't think so. So I have a friend, or I have a person in my life right now that is kind of shitty to me. And I have been up until recently putting a lot of effort into the relationship and not getting very much, or not getting really anything back. Like, the idea of like what I think he said was like, we need to find a middle ground of like you getting enough and me not having to give so much that it's uncomfortable for me.
Right.
But at this point, there's like not even the possibility for middle ground, because he doesn't give it all. And so basically, like, I don't know what to do, because part of me is like, well, I want to be the most kind and graceful and loving person that I can be, and I definitely can keep doing this with him. Like, I can keep not getting enough and keep giving, and it probably won't kill me.
Yeah.
You know?
Probably not.
But I also, like, I don't know where the self-respect is supposed to begin. I don't know where I don't know what point I become a doormat. I just don't know. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I'm completely lost as to what my future with him should look like, because I just have two inclinations. One is to just say, okay, this is just how it is, and keep doing it. And the other one is to just completely cut off all ties. And I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I have to say I'm not usually put in that side of the situation. I'm usually probably on the other side, the person who's like not giving enough, maybe, with friends and stuff like that. But the whole time you were talking, I just kept thinking of that Sting song, if you love someone, set them free. And so I kind of just wonder, like what I would do, I know for sure, is just to, now I'm starting to get nervous about this golf ball, guys. I would probably just cut ties and then just say the responsibility lies with them. Like, because you know what your own intentions are. And if you know yourself well enough, you don't have to justify that to yourself. So it's just like, well, this is like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And so it's like, if they're not willing, then you know where you stand, and it's up to them at that point to repair it, you know?
But the thing is like, so I did cut ties.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no communication. And then he came back to me.
Yeah.
And said, like, basically, like, we need to talk about this. I don't know. And so, like, I just don't know how to, like, I don't know if I should trust. I know that if I don't trust, then it's going to be a shitty relationship, even if it starts happening again. Because me not trusting someone looks very ugly. Like, it's not pleasant.
Yeah.
If I don't trust somebody to take the best care of me that they can, it's not going to be, it's just going to be ugly.
I do think that the physical distance that separates you two is helpful for either solution, I think. Because at least it's not, you don't have like a proximal reminder by seeing them out and about, you know. I mean, it's hard to maintain a relationship just in general, but it's extra hard if you are separated from each other. Just because, I mean, being together is part of what strengthens a relationship. And being apart doesn't necessarily make it weaker, but it definitely takes out a lot of those opportunities that you could have been together. So it's just like if you multiply two numbers by each other and one of them is like a negative number and it's always growing because you guys are apart more than you're together, then the sum total of that's always going to be a higher negative than a positive, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I think at a certain point you just have to kind of like let nature take its course.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. Because, I mean, we don't have complete control. I know what your intentions are, and I know what your desires would be, but it's like part of a relationship is that it does take two, you know? So, yeah, it takes two to tango. It's true. So if you don't have a cooperative partner or buddy, then it won't work. Not for lack of trying on your own part, but again, I don't think you'd ever become a doormat, but I think it would just get exhausting. And then probably confusing, too. It's just like, where do we stand?
I think pathetic is the word that comes to mind. Like, I just feel pathetic a lot.
I wouldn't say that that's necessary. Seems a little uncalled for, Lindsay.
Well, it's, you know.
Yeah.
It's just what I feel.
It's your impression of yourself.
Yeah, like, just to be the person who ends up saying things to people like, I thought that I meant more to him. That's so, like, who, you know, like, I'm not, like, what, like a so-so person. Like, people actually do care about me and care to know me and are good to me.
Maybe is he maybe duller than you think he is or something?
Like, mind-wise?
I don't know, maybe
like,
just...
emotionally, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the words emotionally retarded come to mind.
Well, maybe that's what it is.
But, like...
Maybe...
But I love that about him, you know? Like, I love that we were able to have a connection regardless of that, irregardless of that. I don't know, man. It's just hard.
Yeah. Is he one of the only people who's ever made you feel this way?
A lot of people do. I mean, like, not a lot. Like, I felt this way with my friend Grayson in high school. Like, right after I went to college, things are not good between us. And what happened with him is that we just didn't talk for a couple, like, several months. But I just, like, put it out there. I was just like, I'm not doing this with you anymore, bro. Like, I'm not, like, I don't have the energy to do it. I just want to be, like, one of those, like, strong women who's like, you don't get to treat me this way. No, like, I don't need it. I don't need you. I'm gonna do me. Like, you can fuck off or whatever. Yeah. But, like, I just don't. But that's, like, part of me is just, like, not that. Like, part of me is just, like, so tender. And I'm like, I know that there's stuff going on in your life. I know there are things about your life that have made you act this way. And I'm sympathetic to that. And, like, I want to be there through that, and like, to think about it, like, to put it in a different, because part of me wonders if it's just like him, like if there's just something about him that makes me feel this way. But I imagine, like, if you were to suddenly, like, the tides were to turn and you weren't able to, like, meet me halfway in our friendship, it would be just as hard to, like, it would take, like, years for me to be like, you know what, Kenneth just needs to be let go. Like, that's not how, I don't like that. Like, I just wanna, I just kind of, like, burrow inside people, and then I don't want, all of my friends are, like, my homes. I don't want to leave them. It doesn't feel good. And I can't decide if, like, leaving them feels worse or, like, staying and just being treated like shit feels worse.
How many people do you think you have that are homes, so to speak, in your real life? Like, how many people could, by leaving, like, destroy you in a way? 20?
I think 4.
5. He was one? Or maybe had the potential to be. You saw the foundation there.
Yeah. I definitely trusted him.
Yeah.
Probably mistakenly. I trusted him to not... Like, when you say things to someone, like, one time he said to me, like, basically, like, I want you to know my kids. Like, that's something big to me.
Yeah. But then not really following up and following through with behaviors that are consistent with that.
But it's hard to have such a tender spot for someone who's not around.
Yeah.
That's really painful. I felt that before. Like, to just be like a open wound when somebody, and have somebody have that effect on you when you can't, like, actualize it in, like, a person-to-person way is so hard. It's so hard. Especially when you know you're probably never going to be in the same city again ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that takes a lot of work to keep that going. And, like, you guys probably have to meet more than halfway for each of you.
I don't know.
I don't even remember what the question is. Oh, yeah, the personal problem. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's not cut and dry, that situation. I guess that's probably the worst part, just not knowing, like you said, do you leave it? Which one feels worse, leaving or staying? And even if you are able to determine that, it's like, okay, well, then what do you do with that information? Like, does that really determine whether you stay or leave? Probably not. It's just another complicating factor.
Yeah, like, at a certain point you start to feel like a failure.
But only in that one aspect, right? I mean, that's one person. You know a lot of people. So, I mean, I understand it's a drag, but it doesn't, hopefully it doesn't.
There's, like, one person that I let in, like, he saw a lot of who I am. And to be rejected by somebody who has seen a moderately, like, true version of you or, like, vision of you, that stings a special way.
That's true. I hadn't thought about it like that.
It's,
in terms of rejection.
Really hard.
Yeah.
And especially when you're, like, down to love them. You're like, I know who you are, and I know that you're shitty, and I still, like, want to, like, be around for you and care for you and hear about your shit and, like, whatever. And when they don't want that, you're just like, come on. Like, are you torturing yourself? Do you not feel like you're lovable? Like, what is going on? Because I'm here. Like, I want it. Like, just let me do it.
Warts and all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's your problem?
I don't know.
Come on, Kenneth. Come on.
I still sometimes eat myself to uncomfortability, but in comparison to what was just shared. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think. That's one thing that came to mind. I don't know. I guess maybe like as a general thing, just in my day-to-day life, I just wonder if like I should act on certain feelings because of how I think it might make me feel in the future, or if I should stay where things are known and comfortable. So I guess valuing preserving the present by keeping things at the status quo, or trying to upset things for potentially a greater gain. You know? I wonder about that, just because life I think as you tack on more and more like responsibilities, like getting married, getting a house, deciding to have children, it really limits your scope of like what's available to you, at least for a certain amount of time. So it's like I wonder if I'm okay with like narrowing my choices as time goes on, but I just wonder if I should be content to not like settle, but if I should be challenging myself more, maybe, or trying to put myself out there more, or see if other things are possible and available, or if I should be grateful for the way things are and not try to tip the system if it's working out in my favor currently. I mean, I'm kind of like building this into a bigger problem than it actually is, but
I don't think so.
No? I mean, I wouldn't say this is like, geez, I think I'm getting sunburned. I think I am getting sunburned.
You are. The back of your arms.
I think I'll move over for a sec. Are you gonna get sunburned? Aren't you?
Maybe.
Guess you have more clothes on than I do. Jeez, yeah. I'm a little
You're
red.
naked.
I'm a little naked out here.
I don't know. Like, there's a lot that's said between us that isn't recorded.
Yeah. The good stuff, as I like to call it.
The good stuff.
Yeah.
And I know there's just stuff that's not okay to say to the public. Or like is uncomfortable. Part of me feels like just knowing you, I feel like if I were in your shoes,
yeah,
I wouldn't minimize that problem. Like, the last thing I would be doing is like, I'm probably making this into something bigger, because it is like the ultimate life question, you know?
Yeah.
Like, maybe, I don't know if it is for you. It's definitely one of my ultimate life questions.
See, I don't know if it is for me. That's the thing. I think it might just be like something I kind of latched on to, because like ultimately what a life question, or like I really just want to like be able to cook at the end of the day and go for a bike ride whenever I want. Like, that's more important to me than like being a huge success. Like, that's what I'm kind of wondering. Like, it would be very uncharacteristic of me to give in to taking bigger risks and stuff like that. But I also don't want to regret the opportunity when it would have been easier by comparison to take the risks that I felt like I should maybe explore. So it's just like, I don't feel like it's a huge, like I don't spend a lot of time worrying about it. But it is something, as I go more and more into adulthood, I wonder if I'm like rushing into it too much, because I basically graduated college and then went straight to job. So it's like, I've either always been in school or been employed. Mm-hmm. So I haven't really had any kind of like oats sowed one way or another. Never really this like kind of did whatever, you know. I've always wanted to have a plan. I'm not someone who likes to just kind of willy-nilly go places, which is a huge difference between me and my sister. But I don't know. That's the way I've kind of grown up. It's my expectation to be more calculated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we'll see, we're intrinsically different in that way, and like whatever I say, it's not necessarily something that's going to strike a chord with you because, you know, it's not you.
Right.
You know that I think risking is important.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then
different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, like that, and I don't think less of you, of course.
And I don't think less of you.
Well, thank you.
I'll let you do that for yourself.
Got it covered.
Yeah, people who take risks are always like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And I'm always like, yep, could have come and made a meal with me. No, I'm just joking. I don't actually think that.
Like I said, like 5 minutes ago.
Oh shit! There's a spider. Like,
on your body?
Actually, yeah, it's just like kind of levitating. Fuck! I don't want this spider to be on me.
Got it.
Kind of. Cool.
It's gone.
I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Crisis averted. Thank you for taking the risk.
Yeah.
Get that spider off me. There's like a situation where we might just have to agree to disagree and respect how the other person might do something differently. And I think there's no right way. So that's the kind
I feel like I'm right.
Oh, well. I would expect someone who takes risks to think that is true, because obviously if you're a risky type of person, then it's like you have to justify that the risk is worth it. I don't know. I think taking risks can sometimes be maybe you have a greater sense of self, of like selfishness, but not like being spoiled selfishness, but like Ayn Rand style, like selfishness versus altruism.
You think that you're the altruistic one in this
definitely not
situation? No,
but I think that certain risks might entail a higher sense of self and self-preservation and self-worth.
No, it's the exact opposite.
Oh, yeah?
You're honestly, like, you don't have...
Damn it, I've missed every shot.
You don't have something that feels like absolutely essential or important. Like, you don't have any there's no preservation there. You're like, taking risks does not equal hurting people for fun.
Oh, I don't like, think that's not the kind of selfishness I'm talking about.
I mean, but I don't get, like, you think that people who risk more than they, like, stay, like, whatever, like, that is the best word for it. It's whatever, you know? That's just being afraid. That's... Maybe. I mean, it's comfortably fearful.
That's a good description of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with altruism or selfishness. I think it has to do with, like, what you're okay with feeling about your life when you die.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I think about every day. It's just like, basically, I know that there are certain things, and it's not success related, but there are certain things that I would regret if I didn't do, and I know that those things will follow me forever and ever. And when I die, that's what a part of what I'm going to be thinking about. And,
if you're lucky enough.
Right.
Yeah.
If I have enough time to think before I die.
Right.
And that's what I don't want. Like, I just don't want to, like, know that I missed something that could have been mine, and I know that it could have been mine, just because I was, like, too afraid or, like, cool with just having like a moderately good life.
Yeah. Maybe again, this is coming down to our ideological differences in terms of the philosophical bend that we subscribe to. Like you're more German and I'm more Japanese, you know. Because I feel like things could only end one way anyway, and if everything that I do leads one way, then there's no need to like wish for something different.
That's the worst kind of self-determinism.
I think it's the best.
I think there's always room for improvement.
Oh yeah, I do too. But I think it's limited because no man is an island. Or a woman, to be fair. I'm getting nervous about these little kids now. These guys who suck at golf. They're going to hit us in the head with these balls. I'm going to go unconscious. It's going to ruin my Sunday. I'm going to miss Walking Dead. I'm not going to be able to make a meal. I get so mad at these kids. I'm getting mad just thinking about it.
They seem like pretty on top of it.
They seem like they suck. That kid just made an awful shot.
He's like 5 years old.
And I'd expect 5 years better performance. He's been training for a while. You can tell he's got all the outfit.
Well, I guess we're just gonna have to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
I thought you would be more receptive. Like, part of it was like being receptive to what I had to say, and you kind of failed at that.
Well, I didn't know how much you wanted to go into it, honestly. Because, again, as you said just now, these things are... this question would be better answered under the understanding maybe that it wasn't going to be recorded and released, so that you could really get into the meat of it. But I just wanted to touch on it generally, you know?
Okay.
I mean, I could go further into yours.
We generally touched.
Yeah, we generally touch.
So.
No one ever got pregnant from general touching, that's for sure.
Not at all.
Except maybe general touching, like the commander of like the Allied forces. Someone probably did get pregnant from him. But, you know, he sends his checks. And his love.
Papa loves you.
Little touching loves you. Where's my little touching? Little daddy loves you.
I guess that's it.
What a whimper.
I mean, yeah, I know. I was like hoping to end on a strong point, but I think this is just...
It's a true expression of weakness.
Well...
Not weakness, but just the opposite of strength.
My idea of it is that while recorded, it might have sounded like a little bit like it was on the struggle bus.
Struggle bus.
You know, like if the whole idea of this exercise is to build intimacy between two people.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a lot of intimacy concerning like us talking about what our lives look like.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
So it may not seem like we got there, but I think we definitely got there. It's just like the recording of it is what makes it seem less.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's
personal.
Like we're the drivers of the struggle bus, and so it's like the listeners. Maybe we just didn't let them on.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, you have to wait for the regular bus because we got stuff to say, and you're not allowed to come on. Not without a little bit more like. Well, no, nothing. There's nothing you can do. There's no ticket to this bus,
just
y'all.
me and you.
Yep. That was a really funny conversation to hear. Two female runners. Not that's important. Just went by. And they were talking to each other. I don't know if you heard that. Did you?
Something about hospice?
Yeah, she was saying she used a lot of likes. That's important. But she was like, yeah, so like I was just if you're like 60 years old, then some people they need to go to hospice. And then she's like, but then I think like my dad's almost 60 and like he doesn't need that. That's all. That's a paraphrasing, but it was similar. Geez, if you had to die no matter what when you were 60, that would suck. A lot of people still are doing all right when they're 60. The Scarborough dude's like 64 or something, and that would be sad to think that he had to die 4 years ago just because he was 60. Hopefully those girls can't vote.
I think 75 is a good age.
Yeah, but even still, I don't know. I think maybe you could have the option at that point to die if you wanted to. But, I mean, some people are sharp up to the end, you know? Maybe we could have like an SAT for old people, and if you fail that, you get killed.
It's terrible.
Yeah, well, it's self-selecting. You don't want to die, then,
I don't want to end on that. Okay, let's talk about what we learned from this questionnaire.
Okay. Territories in review. I mean, again, I think we were already close, so it's like, I think we learned that we didn't need to do it. I don't know if we improved intimately that much, or maybe those first few questions.
I definitely feel like a little more comfortable being an asshole around you than I did.
You think that's a desired effect, so you can comfortably be an asshole around the person you're doing it with?
I mean, that's a big part of who I am. Like, there's no reason that you should be, like, selected out of that. I never want to, like, be shitty to you and hurt you, but I also, like, part of me is just a dick. You don't get to be protected from that. Just because I like you a lot.
Nothing can protect me from your dick. That's unnerving.
I sound like let's just be done with it. This is not comfortable.
You've been listening to Territories, the review of the 36 questions that make you fall in love. I think they were good. I think you'll listen to this and you'll be thinking that it was good. In the heat of the moment, things always seem different than re-listening to it. It's like what Jack Kerouac said. Write high, edit sober. Or vice versa. Whichever one you do when you're doing it, do the opposite when you're not. So you need to get really drunk when you listen to this episode. You're like, all right, Lindsay, you're telling them about that for me, please. Something like that.
All right. Well, I don't think we fell in love.
Well, it might have strengthened the love that was there, though.
Yeah.
If we can't accept each other's dicks and asses, then that's a victory of a sort.
Yeah. It would have been funny if we did, but, like, also just very unrealistic.
36 questions probably is not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that lady who said that happened to her, she's obviously a liar. Just an awful, wretched human being. Made up 36 bullshit questions to justify, like, being unfaithful to her boyfriend at the time. She's like, oh, no, I'm not cheating on you. I did these questions, these 36 questions, and I fell in love with him. And he's like, oh, yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that he's, like, a bodybuilder, and he did the same major in college, and your sister's known him for 100 years, etc., and so on. And it's not an allegation. It's a fact. You didn't read that article. The follow-up. 36 reasons why I left my boyfriend for Javier. That's a very interesting article.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. It's on National Enquirer's website.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us on this journey.
But don't think that it's done. This is one territory explored. Many more to go.
Many frontiers.
Many more to go. Many more to go. Many territories to go. That's a weird voice. I wasn't expecting that to come out. But yeah, I think we should walk and have an actual good conversation except for these stupid questions.
For sure.
And not get sunburned.
Let's go.
We're two pale-ass white people getting burnt to a crisp. So for now, thanks for listening to Territories.
Bye.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
You've been listening to
a production of
the Podcast Empire. Spread the word.